On Overdrive today, we pit two of India's most formidable EVs against each other and find out what TVS has done to keep the Apache RTR 160 still relevant. Hello and welcome to Overdrive. I am Soini. The Tata Nexon EV finally has a rival in the form of the Mahindra XUV400, and since these SUVs are pretty much closely matched in terms of the spec sheet, we decided to drive them around just like you would as an owner to find out how they perform.
It's a bright and early morning in Mumbai today, and we're on an endurance test of sorts, quite like the people out here on their morning walks. Now the Tata Nexon EV, especially in this long-range max form, has been your go-to electric car if you wanted something that will do pretty much everything that you want from a family car. But it's got its biggest competitor yet, priced very similarly, which is the Mahindra XUV400. So today, let's just get in, drive and see how they perform. So quick status check before we set up. The XUV400 is at 94% battery and it's done 3.9 kilometers so far. The Nexon EV Max, we've been driving it a bit. It's at 85% battery and has done 30.7 kilometers. So we're in the middle of the city now. Now the next time we see you, we'll be on the expressway heading towards Lonavala. So we'll give you a lowdown on how these cars perform on the highway. Mahindra has gone back to the original SsangYong Tivoli body shell for the XUV400, packaging the battery pack under the rear seat and boot, making it 207mm longer, 10mm wider and 18mm taller than the Nexon EV Max. Notably, Mahindra has reworked the charge port into the front left fender, while the Tata still uses the ICE's fuel filler space to fit its charging socket. This does make the Mahindra easier to drive up to chargers. Conversely, you miss out on fog lamps with the Mahindra. The Mahindra XUV400 makes 150 PS and 310 Nm, while the Tata Nexon EV Max puts out 143 PS and 250 Nm. But for this test, we decided to leave the Nexon EV Max in its city drive mode with the XUV400 in its fun setting. Both EVs seem quite similar in performance in these modes, the Tata making a reduced 98 PS and 170 Nm, and the Mahindra limiting top speed to 95 kmph. So now we've spent some time driving. We're out on the expressway headed to Lonavala, and here's the status of charge. The Nexon EV Max has done 104 kilometers on the trip and it's at 60% charge. The XUV400 has done 74 and it's at 71% charge. The Tata deploys its performance in a more polished way. Both limit torque at low throttle application, but the ramp up is more linear in the Nexon EV Max. It's also able to switch to regen more naturally off throttle. The Mahindra's more abrupt shift can take some getting used to. A notable difference is that the Nexon EV Max gets regen modes, which we left in the first level for the highway stint, while the XUV400 has these tied in with the modes, so there's less in the way of fine-tuning your driving experience. So yeah, now that we are driving it on the highway, both cars first of all have great ride quality here. They seem to be quite sure-footed, although it must be said that over some of the rougher imperfections on the highway, the XUV400 slightly softer suspension setup does seem to help it over these surfaces. That being said, where you get a lot of confidence from the Nexon EV Max is through the steering. It's really stable, really sure-footed. In the XUV400, you are making constant corrections, small corrections, but you are making them to keep the car going straight, which can get slightly irritating, but at the speeds that we are doing, 80, 90, that isn't too much of a problem. In terms of how they're performing in terms of efficiency, the Nexon EV Max again seems to be marginally more efficient, and that seems to be in the way the battery is delivering its power and generally the smoother working of the motor and the regen system. We've been keeping the Nexon EV Max at level 2 regen, which is about what you would expect in terms of engine braking from a regular car on the highway, while the XUV400 has been in the fun mode. There's no eco mode as such in that car. So yeah, they're both similar in terms of the regen effect that they're giving, but It just seems that the Nexon EV Max does it a touch more seamlessly. In our regular driving haunts around Lonavala, the Nexon EV Max's tauter dynamics impressed again. The more consistent power delivery, the more natural steering, and the lesser body roll than the XUV400 make it about as exciting as you might want your family SUV to be. The XUV400's straight-line performance is blistering as our rolling and standing acceleration times suggest, but its more comfort-focused suspension shows limitations here. So now we've reached the first half of our journey. We are right at the top of Lonavala, and bear in mind it's been an 85-kilometer climb to get here. First through the full Ghat section of the expressway and then right up through the hills of Lonavala. So the Nexon EV Max, remember it had slightly less charge when we started. It's done 153 kilometers and has about 32% charge left. And the XUV400, it's done 125 kilometers and has 43% charge left. From here on, we're going to go back downhill. It's easy because it's going to be a lot of downhill, so we won't have to manage charge all that much. And then we're going to go charge this in Lonavala in a fast charger and then take it from there. The Tata and the Mahindra are similarly spec'd in terms of battery sizes. The Tata has a 40.5 kWh pack and the XUV400 a 39.4 kWh pack. However, they differ in terms of battery chemistry. Mahindra has gone the nickel manganese cobalt way, while the Tata uses lithium iron phosphate cells, both of which are variations of lithium ion technology. The Tata Nexon EV Max and the Mahindra XUV400 again take different approaches with safety. The XUV400 will give you 6 airbags in this top trim, while the Nexon EV Max only makes do with 2. That said, the XUV400 is missing some critical active safety equipment, especially in the context of EVs. These are ESC, hill hold and hill descent control. We found the XUV400 can roll back on a slope, and with the high torque output is also quite drastic wheel spin and torque steer for you to contend with on hard acceleration in the more potent modes.
Very soon we are going to take these two EVs for a spin around the city to find out just which of these two would be best suited as your daily driver within the city. Stay with us, you're watching Overdrive.
CNG car, there's no chance of storage.
If you get a CNG car, you've got to get a carrier.
CNG is good, but to get something, you have to give up something.
OMG! It's CNG! Big boot, big appeal, big reaction. OMG! It's the Altroz iCNG. कैसे करते हैं ट्रेड?
ड्राइव 5 पैसा। ऑर्डर छोटा हो या बड़ा या कार्ट में पड़ा, कोई वैल्यू या सेगमेंट या कोई भी टाइप, ब्रोकरेज को लेकर अब नो मोर हाई। और सुन, 2 लाख के स्टॉक्स या 2000, इन्वेस्ट मर्जी से करो यार। ना लगे कैलकुलेटर, ना लगेगा पेन, अल्ट्रा ट्रेडर पैक से होगा ब्रोकरेज सिर्फ ₹10।
कमीशन की टेंशन छोड़ो, 5 पैसा से रिश्ता जोड़ो। विद 5 पैसा's अल्ट्रा ट्रेडर पैक, ब्रोकरेज होगी सिर्फ ₹10 फ्लैट। बीट दैट।
ऐसे करते हैं ट्रेड। सोच मत छोटे, इंस्टॉल मार।
Investment in securities market are subject to market risk. Read all related documents carefully before investing.
A show that is unmatched.
We tell you stocks to watch out for and which sectors are impacted.
Thought-provoking.
In India, the allocation to equity is about 5 to 10%, which is not beating inflation. So investing aggressively can actually look at even beating inflation.
And will give you maximum value for your money.
It is a good time to look at debt funds as a category. There's no better time than this in that sense to lock in rates for the long term.
A masterclass with India's biggest market experts. Smart money at these times.
Powered by Bandhan Mutual Fund.
The fairest sex they call us. But the rules of the game, are they fair? You know we do have our skin in the game because we put everything at stake and believe in having and even eating our cake. Bold, aspirational, loud. Don't give us those labels. We're all unique, all valid and all worthy. Dreamers, doers and ceiling smashers. Standards and boundaries, we draw them. Stereotypes and self-doubt, we banish them. equal pay for equal value. Let's create our destiny afresh.
HSBC presents CNBC-TV18 Future Female Forward, the Women's Collective.
Presented by HSBC. Knowledge partner Deloitte. Industry partner FICCI. Associate partner Reliance Industries Limited.
Delivery. There is a large block. Understand in the block deal, the leading private equity investor was a seller. BHEL is buzzing in trade today, and there is an anticipation of a large order coming for BHEL very soon. The promoter entity of Adani Group, understand from sources, were on the selling side, and a large leading US-based fund was a buyer in today's block. We have confirmation of both. The promoter entities have sold and have raised 15,500 crores by selling stake in the 4 group companies, and the buyer is GQG Partners.
Tune in to NSE Closing Bell as we spot deals before they happen, decode their impact on stock prices, and help you stay ahead of the markets. CNBC TV18. Follow the leader.
Welcome back. Here with us on Overdrive. We've just been testing the Tata Nexon EV against the Mahindra XUV400 on the highway, but now it's time for us to check out which of these SUVs would be most suited for city driving.
The Nexon EV Max, after the recent software update, now has an ARAI certified range of 453 kilometers against the XUV400's 456 kilometers. But the real-world range figures tell a different story. It must be noted though that we recouped quite a bit of energy on our downhill run back and drove hard for our shoots, which has gotten the highway and city efficiency numbers close to each other. It also shows that you can really use these EVs for weekend trips or as a daily commuter without charging more than a few times a week. Both fast charge at up to 50 kilowatts. The XUV does it slightly quicker on paper, getting up to 80% in 56 minutes, while the Nexon EV Max takes 50 minutes. But charging the two EVs at different fast chargers and on slow AC charging, we found that these numbers do not make much real-world difference. Both can AC charge at up to 7.2 kilowatts, taking about 6.5 hours. The Nexon is 2 hours slower with the 3.3 kilowatt charger. So now we've been driving these two EVs in the city in South Mumbai traffic for a fair bit now. I'm in the XUV400, which has done 46 kilometers, and it's done it in about 20% battery. Started at 86, now it's at 66. And as for the Nexon EV, it started at 80, it's at 68 now, and it's covered about 29 kilometers. Now, a big difference, we've been driving both these cars, the XUV for example in their fun mode, and the Nexon EV in the normal mode with the highest region. Although for the XUV we did shift to the L one-pedal driving mode, which has helped its efficiency because you don't need to use the brakes too much. It has real one-pedal driving. It will actually come to a halt, unlike the Nexon EV, which slows right down to a crawl but does not stop. It's much easier to modulate speed in traffic in the Tata despite there not being a one-pedal driving mode as in the Mahindra. The Nexon EV Max has a more natural feeling brake pedal which makes stopping more confident. The Mahindra's abrupt switch from drive to regen again hampers it here. And as for the driving experience, it's clear that in the XUV400 you have a better view out. The windscreen is wider, you can see the edges of the larger bonnet much more easily. And there's a less of a blind spot here. In the Nexon EV there's a really large A-pillar and big mirrors. The mirrors here are slightly smaller, the A-pillar isn't as large, so that helps. And in terms of ride too, the XUV does fare a little bit better in the city. At low speeds with the frequency selective damping that's in this car, you realize that it takes those low speed bumps which most EVs don't do. They have that firm edge to them. This still has it, but it's not nearly as much as in the Nexon EVs. So over these metro ravaged roads, if you will, the XUV400 is slightly more comfortable. It also has less pitch and dive, even though the Nexon EV does have a tauter suspension generally. So in terms of driving in the city, the XUV400 is more comfortable. The Mahindra XUV400 is a strong first effort. It's bigger both inside and out than the Nexon EV Max, has blistering performance and is reasonably efficient in isolation. The Tata Nexon EV Max though shows what a head start can do for you in a new segment and with new technology. It feels like a more complete package with its better efficiency, better integrated drivetrain and more tweakable modes. You also have more choices in terms of variants and features, which adds to it being more approachable. Prices for the Nexon EV Max start from Rs 17.57 lakh, while the single long-range variant of the Mahindra XUV400 costs Rs 20 lakh. The comparable Nexon EV Max costs about Rs 20.19 lakh.
Well, you know what our pick is amongst these two EVs, but let us know what you would pick and why in the comment section on our YouTube channel. We'll be back after a very short break to tell you all about what's changed in the TVS Apache RTR 160 2V.